to the Boss Ladies Breakroom with your favorite boss lady, Miss Kamei. We're here to educate, inspire, and empower you to get honest about the triggers, the trauma, the setbacks, and the strength that comes from healing through them. Here we take action. We protect our peace, we protect our assets, and we move with purpose. Because here's the truth. Healed women don't just survive. They build family legacy and generational wealth. Welcome to the Boss Ladies Breakroom, everybody. I am Boss Lady Miss Kamei, and I have an amazing guest coming up in my interview today in the Boss Ladies Breakroom. I have known this boss lady for more years than I care to admit, but I've known her for many years. She's Bling Queen turned immigration paralegal. I know that's a vast kind of margin there, but I think the two go together personally myself. So it's no surprise to me that Yadira Morales, prior Bling Queen, now immigration paralegal, and she is going to share her business growth. She's going to talk about some of her triggers and trauma that she has healed over the course of these years and the businesses that she's had, and how healing her trauma has made her a stronger boss lady. So before we get into that, I want to talk to you guys about an experience I recently had, just really quickly. And I, as you know, I'm here to educate, inspire, and empower you to take action in your life. And so I want to ask you, if you are ready to run, how many of you are ready to run in life? And here's the thing. I recently traveled to Seattle with my husband. We get to the airport. We had some issues with our flight. I get to ticketing. I check in my bag. I think everything is great, right? We get all the way down to the TSA checkpoint, and we get up to the security TSA guard. And all of a sudden, he tells me that there is an issue with my ID, my passport, essentially, and my boarding pass. So I have to go all the way back to ticketing to address the issue, right? So I turn around, and of course the TSA, security line, everybody's in the, spaghetti sauce, right? There's just hundreds of people there. They have, TSA because, people were working without pay, and the whole government and all the things, right? And so I'm just like, oh my gosh. And we're trying to get to our flight. And, so it's just this sense of urgency in the moment, right? And so I literally ran from TSA checkpoint all the way back to ticketing. I had a carry-on luggage, so my husband stayed there kind of, at the checkpoint area with the luggage. And I ran back to ticketing to get my my boarding pass and my ID, squared away. And so, and not only did I need to run back to ticketing, but I really needed to run back to security checkpoint as well, so that we could get through security to get to our gate so we didn't catch our flight. And here's the thing, here's the lesson that I learned. I have been on a health journey for the last, I would say, 5 years. I've been very committed to my health, very committed to, my diet. And when I say diet, I don't mean, going without. I'm talking about what I'm eating, my diet. I've been in the gym religiously, no less than 3 days a week, right? And I'm in body pump, so I'm moving weight around, and I'm really building strength and endurance in my body. But the moment that I had to run, I really questioned my ability and my endurance to be able to run back to ticketing and then run back to the TSA checkpoint. And I had to be ready. And so, to share with you, I did run back to ticketing, and then I did make it back to the security checkpoint. I did run. But let me tell you something. If I was not prepared, if I was not working on my health and working on my diet and focusing on losing weight over the last several years, in that moment, I potentially would not have been able to run. I potentially may have missed my flight if I wasn't able to run when life required me to run. So I share this story with all of you to challenge you. And this is my call out to all of you watching today. You guys need to get ready to run in life, because if the moment presents itself, you've got to be ready, boss ladies. You have got to be ready. We run fabulous, and it's all sparkle and shimmer and shine, right? And when we're ready, when we stay ready, we don't have to get ready. So I want to leave that little message with you guys today for my call out. Make sure that you guys are ready to run when life it requires you to do so. So I want to get right back into my interview today. This new series that we're in the Year of the Fire Horse, Triggered, Not Broken. This is a powerful conversation series inside the Boss Ladies Breakroom that explores how emotional triggers, trauma, workplace conflict, and personal challenges become catalysts for healing and leadership when approached with intention. This is not therapy. These aren't therapy sessions. This is self-awareness, strategy, and emotional literacy for women who are building businesses, navigating power, and leading through change. We're here to educate you, inspire you, and empower you. I'm going to take a quick break, and right after the break, we're going to get right into it, the Boss Ladies Breakroom interview with Miss Yadira Morales, Bling Queen turned immigration paralegal. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Are you a woman-owned business ready to elevate your visibility? The Boss Ladies Breakroom offers exclusive 30-second commercial brand features designed to position your brand with clarity and authority. Did you know short-form video drives engagement? Viewers retain up to 95% of what they watch online. Trusted placement builds recognition, and trust drives revenue. We refine your message, we professionally produce your commercial, we deliver the finished video asset for you to use across your platforms, and we feature it inside a platform committed to educating, inspiring, and empowering women in business.
If your personal financial house is not in order, your business financial house will not be in order. And so what do I mean by that? Even if you're starting a side business, if you're selling, jewelry online or whatever, it's important to separate personal from business. A separate account for your business. It's to your advantage, right? There's different business structures, but keep that in mind. You want to keep it separated.
Visit MissCommandernational.com and click the Contact tab and submit your inquiry with commercial brand feature in the subject line. This isn't exposure, it's positioning. Be seen, be trusted, be remembered. Welcome back to the Boss Ladies Breakroom, everybody. I'm Boss Lady Miss Kamei. This is a space where we educate, inspire, and empower you. So thank you so much for joining us today. I'm a woman who understands that leadership isn't just about what you build. It's about what you heal along the way. And today we are opening a brand new chapter. And I'm going to launch the series with my very, very good friend, Yadira Morales, Bling Queen turned immigration paralegal, who introduced me to Sparkle and Shine 14 years ago. Welcome to the Boss Ladies Breakroom, Yadira. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you so much, Miss Kamei, for having me. I'm so excited and very honored to be part of this.
Well, thank you. I know it was a long haul to get us here. Women in business, we've always got things coming up and unexpected, right? Life makes us run. We got to be ready to run, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to share with our audience how you and I met. So I just want to, start there because that's essentially where our relationship started.
Yeah.
14 years ago, I was recruited to compete in a plus size pageant in Washington State. And I had a pageant coach, DeAndre Sherrard, and she actually knew you from her pageant competition.
Yes.
And you owned a business. You, your mother, your sister, you guys owned Becky's Glamour out in Auburn in the super mall out there. And you blinged everything. I mean, you guys, you walk into that store and like everything, I think, but the floor was bling. Everything.
Yes.
And you were such a huge supporter of the pageant industry. You were supporting DeAndre in her pageant competitions, long before I came along. And you were so supportive of the pageant system. You sponsored T-shirts for the competing delegates for the American Beauties Plus pageant system. I competed in my first year, and then in my second year, I recruited Denise Nicole, who we brought into Becky's Glamour, and you blinged her out as well.
Yes.
We held a nonprofit a sponsorship event essentially with Becky's Glamour, and whatever we wanted blinged, you would bling it. However you could support the pageant and sponsor it, you were so willing to do it, and you really helped set Washington State on the plus size pageant map, essentially, because of all the bling you did. So I want to ask you, I just really want to start there. I want to know your background, how you came to Washington State, and how you came to open Becky's Glamour.
Yes. Well, thank you for the fabulous introduction. Those were the good old days. We had tons of fun making Washington bling and beautiful, right? Well, yeah, it was such a beautiful journey towards blinging everything. It was honestly something that just kind of out of the whim. So funny story, my mom, Becky, you remember her, she has this thing that like we grew up hearing all the time, that she's like, I'm glamorous, I'm fabulous. Like she had try to instill high self-esteem in my sister and myself. And always about like the cute and the blingy and the flashy. And, it's just an idea that kind of started, that we started looking into it. And we were just seeing that the bling logo started kind of like showing up here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But the quality, and no shade to anyone, but like back then, like the quality was not great.
Right.
So we just decided, we're like, you know what, we need something beautiful that represents women, that we can find a way to also support women and support people coming up and finding how to use their love for fashion to kind of put it all together to make something beautiful and be able to give back, right? And that's kind of how the idea started. And one day we all just like quit our jobs, and my sister was still in school at the time, but we just kind of all went full in and just created Becky's Glamour. And Becky's Glamour started because my mom's name is Becky. And
right.
About how glamorous she was. Shout out to my mom. So
yes, shout out to Becky.
Yeah, so that's how it just started, and we miss it, to be honest. I think it was a beautiful time, and we got to experience so much joy and love from the community, and I'm very grateful to have gone through Becky's Glamour.
Yeah, we loved coming to the store. I mean, we just loved it. There was, bling in the makeup and the cosmetics, and bling bags and bling jeans, and I mean the T-shirts that you would make for us. I mean, it was amazing. What you did. I mean, I remember showing up to the pageant, you know, as delegates would come from around the country to compete. And, you know, like, where did you get your t-shirt, or where did you get your, I mean, I remember when the year that Denise and I competed together, we brought, you know, like jackets, like, you know,
Yes.
yeah, like, you know, athletic jackets for travel. Oh my God, those, I don't even know where mine is anymore. But those were so fabulous. And, you know, like, we're shopping today, right, on Shein, Fashion Nova. You know, we can get stuff that's bling, but nothing like Becky's Glamour. Nothing.
And I still get asked. And there's even people who have come by the office and have their old shirts, like their Seahawk shirts, and they still, they're, all the stones are still in place.
Yes.
Like, when are you gonna come back? And I'm like, I don't know, but I know it's like a big night and day from going from Bling Queen, because we designed everything, girl. You remember, like, what do you need? And my mind was just boom, 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 designing, and
yes,
we blinged it, and we blinged everything. So it's so wonderful. And now I get asked all the time, what the heck? What happened going from Bling Queen to like law? What happened?
Yeah. Well, I think the two go together. I think they go together personally. I think it was.
I'm surprised I'm not like the bling para.
Well, you know, after the Boss Ladies Breakroom today, I mean, you might decide to, you know, go back to it. You never know. Like,
you never know.
You know, you can bling it all. You can bling anything. You can bling it all for sure. I will say, you know, the inspiration for Miss Kamei International, and, you know, my logo, it is, you know, all diamonds, the diamond logo, is really, you know, from that era for me. You know, that's when I officially launched Miss Kamei International, was back in 2013. And I loved that concept, you know, the diamond, of course, you know, diamonds are created under pressure, right? So really, you know, just the entire concept, but it was really birthed in my pageant career and in all of the bling stuff that I got. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And I remember I was still in the game when you started MCI, and we still got to make you a full blinged out logo with MCI. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's, I have it today. I still use it today.
I love it
on all of my marketing. Yeah, it's amazing. So yes, Bling Queen goes with, you know, paralegals. They match.
Absolutely.
They match for sure. So let's talk about, you know, really why we are here. Recently, I have realized the power and healing past trauma in my own personal life. And I also have felt and experienced the magnitude and the power of really connecting the two. And so I know that, you know, today, in preparation for your interview, that is the message that you really want to highlight today in your interview with me, is your struggles, your setbacks, the lessons that you've gone through in life, and how they have helped you to uplift others. Around the holiday, I received an email from a corporate attorney that I work with. And it just happened to be on our holiday, you know, party day, right? And this attorney asked me to go pick up a couple of Apple gift cards for some clients that were coming, you know, to the holiday party.
Yes.
And what was driving me was, I thought that I had done something wrong when the attorney emailed me and was, you know, asking me, hey, what time are you coming into the office today? My response was, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? Did I make a mistake? Oh my gosh, am I going to get, you know, or they don't want to work with me anymore? You know, what happened? And I was so eager and so quick to want to do what he asked me to do. Didn't question it, you know, didn't think twice about it, right? And when I tried to call the attorney, he didn't answer. And I'd sent, you know, an email, and I said, hey, you know, if you want to chat, I can chat with you right now. And he responded back and said, no, I'm in a meeting, I can't talk. but hey, I need you to go and grab, a couple of these gift cards, make sure you keep your receipt, so we can expense it. So in that moment, Yadira, I was so relieved. I was so relieved that I didn't do something wrong, that I didn't make a mistake, and, that the attorney was, wasn't going to tell me he didn't want to work with me anymore. That was the driving force, right?
Yeah.
So short version of the long story, it was a scam. Somebody had hacked into our, email somehow and sent me an email, and I, thought it was the attorney that I work with. And I couldn't have gotten to these gift cards fast enough. I couldn't have bought them fast enough because I was so relieved that it wasn't something bad.
Yeah.
And, I went and bought these gift cards. And then the emails kind of started to shift and kind of change. And then I actually really looked at the email, and then I saw that the email address was like a really wrong email address. And I was horrified. And I was immediately so disgusted that I was triggered, and that my response to the trigger was what it was.
Yeah.
And I was operating, from this unhealed, if you will, this unhealed wound of, when I was bullied in the workplace, or, when I had done something wrong, when I'd worked in law before.
Yeah.
And, so luckily, I was able to, get the cards returned, and, Apple, gave me the refund, et cetera, et cetera. I reported it, to the office, and, they were able to take care of it. Yeah. But when it was all said and done, I had to sit with myself, and I had to be honest with what had just happened and what the root of it was, because I don't ever want to be triggered like that again. And because when we're triggered, it triggers a reaction, essentially, not necessarily a response.
Yes.
And so powerful, an opportunity for me to heal, to be honest with myself. And again, not to beat ourselves up, right? I wasn't going to browbeat myself and, really focus on it too much, because the power was in the trigger. And me, my level of self-awareness to understand where it was coming from, so that I could actually go back and heal that, that issue, right? So share with us how you went from Becky's Glamour to an immigration paralegal, because there's some deep roots in there for you.
There are. Thank you for asking. Oh my goodness. So I actually always wanted to be in law. I since I was a little girl, it's just, I've always been involved with everything, justice. But, growing up, first gen and being an immigrant in this country, your parents always want you to try to do something a little bit different, with the self-awareness that if you ever have to return to your country, you need to do something that's valuable in that country, right? Mm-hmm. In my experience, it was like, what are you going to study law for if we ever have to go back to Mexico? You need to study something universal. So the plan was to become a dentist. Yeah, so way different. So I started going towards, sciences, and eventually I got a short career while I was in college as well to get my dental hygiene and dental assisting. So I was actually that before I started Becky's Glamour. My mom and I started Becky's Glamour, but I've always been around those areas, right? With the idea that I had to prepare to be something in a different country. Growing up was really hard, being an immigrant, and navigating two worlds, not necessarily being accepted into either or. I'm not Mexican enough to go back to Mexico, but I'm not American enough to be American. I'm not this, I'm not that. And it was super lonely. It was very lonely. I didn't quite, growing up, there was not a huge Latino community in Washington. So I was just lost a little bit along the way. And I think that kind of started that deep desire of wanting to be within community and trying to help, whoever I could help. Because I think it was just a sense of inclusion, I would say.
Mm.
Because it was hard to fit in anywhere. So I wanted to fit in everywhere because it was definitely coming from loneliness being an immigrant. And I had no family here. It was just my mom, my dad, and myself for a long time until my sister. I'm 8 years older than my sister. So, and then, as I grew up, the Latino community grew, statuses changed. I was able to, I'm now a U.S. citizen, obviously. So like, I don't have to worry about going to be a dentist in Mexico. I was like, see, Dad, I told you I should have studied law from the beginning.
Yeah.
But it's just something that always just called me back. And no matter what, though, I have to say that whatever area I was in, because we also ran, we had different businesses as a family. No matter where I was in, somehow justice always followed me. So I'll give an example. At Becky's Glamour, we spoke Spanish. And a lot of people would come and we would support different companies. We would sponsor different events. And sometimes people would just feel very comfortable with us. And they'd come and share like, hey, I'm going through this situation. I know you don't work in law, but like, can you help me? And we would try to figure out how to support them. So no matter what area in work I was, it was like somehow the legal system always followed me to teach others. And then as an immigrant myself, I had to learn, the navigation of our own cases. I was formerly undocumented in DACA, same navigating my parents' long process. I had to, I'm very much like a studier. It comes from being the firstborn, first gen. And I need to know everything at its full capacity to know I wouldn't get taken advantage of. My parents wouldn't get taken advantage of because we had limited resources. So I had to really study up and just zone in. And it just kind of all meshed somehow, no matter what I did. I think it was just purposed.
Yeah. I remember you calling me, about 6 years into my legal career. And I think it was your aunt at the time, I think, that was going through the citizenship process or the immigration process. And I think that's when I think you were still running Becky's Glamour at the time. But I remember that phone call. And I remember thinking to myself, like, that would be an amazing area of law for Yadira to work in because she's going through this process, and I didn't know at the time that you yourself had gone through that process. I just remember that phone call and, you and the questions that you had, regarding your aunt. It was your aunt, correct?
No, it was my mom.
It was your mom. Okay.
It was my mom, and you wrote her a support letter.
That's right. See what happens when you get old?
Yeah.
You become an older boss lady, you forget.
Yeah, no.
Yes, that's right. I remember that. The business that you own now, you talk to us a little bit about that. How you got started in law and how you now own Impacto Notary and Multi Services. How did that happen?
So I was totally sidetracked, but so I, after running different companies, my heart was just, I want to work in law. And I was a little bit, I think my whole family, we were just burnt out. A lot of life things happened. I came out about an abuse, trigger warning, by the way. I came out about abuse that I had suffered as a child. And I think just life itself got overwhelming. And we all needed a break. I got pregnant and I fell in love, caught feelings, and I just worked. I mean, you knew me back then. I worked from, sun up to sundown.
Right.
And I think I just needed to have a life. And a friend of mine actually connected me to an attorney, which I do have to give a little shout out. His name is Luis Cortes. He's one of the DACA attorneys in the state of Washington who's suing this administration, and just my mentor. He's amazing. Shout out, Luis. What's up? But I remember me telling him, I have no experience, but I have experience in running a business. I have experience. I'm smart. If I don't know, I will learn it. I'm a firstborn. Enough said. I was like, please give me a chance. He was looking for just a receptionist, and he was like, well, you're this is all I can do. I'm like, give me a few months, I will get up there. And I did. He gave me a chance, and he told me, when you leave me, you can go to law, you can fight your own case and go to law school. And he taught me everything. He was so hard on me, and just but I had to leave him because I got too smart and I had to get paid more.
Yeah. Boss lady.
Yeah, I was like, thank you for teaching me. I gotta go.
Yeah.
I got offered a job elsewhere. And I just started working everything immigration. Well, I started in civil, so like personal injury, everything, and immigration. I started with Luis with immigration, and then when I left him, I moved up into civil litigation and commercial and just other areas, but always staying within immigration. But I also had my side business when I started the officiating business. So because I was running like a side business and immigration and other areas of law, when COVID hit, work died down a little bit. And my boss at the time was sharing me with other attorneys. So I started doing contract work. But during COVID, notary fraud and legal fraud grew. And because I was already pretty known in the community, because I volunteer for like everything, people would come to me, and then I would connect them to different attorneys to fix their cases. And then that's where the idea came out, because I saw you, Miss Kamei, started your own thing as an independent paralegal. And I was like, wait a minute, Miss Kamei out here doing her own thing. Let me see if I can do this in Washington.
Right.
So, I'm not gonna lie, I had to copy you a little bit because I admire you so much. And I remember, I don't know if you remember this, but like you definitely gave me some really good advice about becoming an independent. So I did my research, and I followed your structure a little bit that you would always point out. So I'm so grateful for you, because I think that you're one of the very few women who really support other women. And you just kind of inspired me to launch out on my own. And I was already pretty well known with attorneys. So I said, listen, I went to all of them, and I said, listen, I really want to start my own thing. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I have another company on the side. I want to stay in law, but I can't work 9 to 5. I need to do my own schedule.
Yeah.
Will you support me?
I need to be my own boss lady.
Yes. Yeah. And I said, but I want to do it the right way. Like, I want to make sure that I'm really for community. I want to prevent notary fraud. I want to prevent legal representation fraud. Like, can we come up with a structure so that I can help people get access to legal representation with helping them start the process and then connecting them to the appropriate attorney? And how can we work together to make this happen? And my circle of attorneys were like, Yadira, we know who you are. We know the work you do. We're going to support you, and you can count on us on being a partner with Impacto. And Impacto means impact, and which is what I wanted to do. And I was like, I need to make sure that my community sees that transparency, that I'm not doing it just to do it. I'm doing it because I really care, and because everyone deserves access to legal representation.
Yes.
If they can't afford it, so that they can at least go to a place where even other attorneys recommend me. So I think that says a lot. And I think that's something that separates me from, I'm not, not putting anyone else down who does multi-services, but like,
right, of course.
My area is so different. It's so unique. And to have backing from reputable attorneys, I think it's something that I worked really hard to show my people that like they deserve a place, because that's not something I had growing up. I had to figure out how to navigate that system with no help. So I wanted to be that for little me, I guess.
Yeah. It is a stellar compliment to be referred by an attorney. And attorneys, they have their role in legal work, right? They are attorneys. They give legal advice. They represent clients. They have the ability to look at the law and how the law applies to that certain case or that certain situation, and advise a client accordingly, right? Paralegals, there are so many things that we do as paralegals. And there's so many things that we do as paralegals that we do better than attorneys, because attorneys are the attorney, right? They are there to represent clients and to analyze the law and apply the law to, that current situation. And that's just the fact of the matter. That's just the truth of the industry. Paralegals, there are things that paralegals do that attorneys are not well versed at.
Yeah.
And so it's really a partnership. And so I think in traditional law firms, in traditional law settings, sometimes that's not the case. That's not like the hierarchy or the understanding, but it's actually the reality of any law office. Paralegals do so many things that attorneys, like, filing, preparing documents, starting a template document. Attorneys are like, where do we start? How do I do that? They're used to having, the completed draft, essentially really ready to go out the door, and read through it and edit it. So, I think that's such an important statement, and such a stellar compliment that attorneys in your community actually recommend you or refer clients to you. Because the truth of the matter is, Yadira, Bling Queen, Bling Paralegal, right? You're going to do it better than they will, and they know that, and that's why they're referring you, right? That's why they're referring you.
Yeah, I'm so blessed. I'm so honored. My office is actually in a law building, and I'm the only non-attorney here, because of the work that I do and because of my trajectory. I'm so proud of that. I'm very proud of that because I worked very hard. I studied really hard. I'm always studying. Anyone who sees this video, they know I'm always reading. I'm always staying up to date. And, I'm extremely grateful for my law community supporting this vision.
Yes. And like we talk about community, right? The work that you do is it's structured in community, and it's community based, right? Absolutely. And so you talk about healing and triggers and trauma, and thank you so much for feeling safe in this space to talk about the trauma that you experienced as a child, as a young girl, because we know that other people in our community, as they would come and share with you, we've all experienced it. We've all had trauma. All of us have had some type of trauma that we've survived. And so when we talk about transformation and the difference that you're making in people's lives, what transformations do you offer your clients when they come to you for services?
Yeah. I think that one thing is that I've gone through so much in my life. It's different when you go to someone who has, read books, studied, third parties. it's different when you personally walk through really difficult situations. So my mind is always working based off experience. So when people come to my office and say, hey, I was abused, whether it was DV or SA, like I've been through that. Personally, both as a victim, as a survivor. So my mind is already thinking, okay, what did I have to do? How did I feel? I can imagine, where they're coming from. Of course, we all feel things differently, sense things differently. But I think just going through a shared experience is it's a closing bridge, that offers empathy, understanding. And I think the transformation that I'm able to offer, I think, is just understanding alone. When people don't feel like I don't get it, and I have a basic understanding of navigation, I think that alone allows my clients and the people who come to my office to feel safe. And I think that feeling safe is transformative. In itself.
You talk about the story a lot, right? And being a story to strategy builder. And so how do you apply, and we talk, those are archetypes. So how do you, apply that archetype of yourself into your business, to your clients?
I mentioned this before to you in a previous conversation when I say like pain becomes power when it's transformed into advocacy. And I think that my archetype is, I guess I would say, like, I know you put it into a word, but I think I would categorize it as like advocacy bridge builder. Get things done. I think that going through this whole Becky's glamour to law to this to that, just the whole process along the way has taught me so much of hearing other people's experiences, having to come out about my own abuse, navigating the legal system on how to go through the reporting system, overextending myself, everything, just all of that healed pain turned into power and the desire to help other people navigate through that same system, whether it's showing them how to, open a business while also going through the reporting system, or going through drafting up a power of attorney because they just can't seem to do it on their own because they're going through their healing process. I think that no matter what, that pain turned advocacy is very empowering to me. And also, I think the realization of shared experiences amongst community members, and having someone who, I'm not going to say I'm like superwoman or anything, but I think that I've gone through enough. I've gone through enough in life that I've been able to learn how to utilize that into good.
Yes. So how has your personal healing, because I remember when, we were working on sponsorship for the pageant system, and I met you and your husband. This was before the babies were born. This was before any of the kids came along. I remember having dinner with you and your husband at Azteca, which is my favorite restaurant. Oh my gosh, Azteca and Tequila in Seattle, Washington. The soup there is amazing. We were just there and I had it again. My tortilla soup, right?
Tortilla soup without the tortillas.
Without the tortillas. You remember?
I remember, yeah.
So I remember having dinner with you guys, and we were talking pageant sponsorship and kind of ironing things out. And it was actually your husband that brought up, when he met you, and the trauma that you had experienced and kind of where you were operating in that moment, and your husband, seeing that. And even, you shared with me, like, you were resistant to, a relationship with him. You were really, really resistant to, his love and his affection. And, he just never gave up on you. He wasn't willing to walk away or give up on you. And he really, walked through that time or that transition with you, and loving you in just in complete totality, just, loving who you were and seeing your strength. I remember him talking about you. And I saw, the little sass in you where you're like, it is not that easy to lock me down, like whatever, trauma or no trauma, whatever.
Yeah.
I was so, I was deeply touched and so moved at hearing, how your husband was supporting you through that moment. And as I've shared with you recently, that's something that I too now have experienced in my marriage with my husband, having that safe space, that structure to really honestly address my triggers, to heal the trauma, and having somebody completely accept us and completely understand, and never give up, never leave us, never forsake us, like a godsend, right? They're just this angel from heaven sent to just magnify and just blow up our assignment, right? What we're here to do.
Yeah.
So how has your personal healing changed how you lead in your business today?
Yeah, well, if my husband is watching, don't get big-headed now.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah, don't get all big-headed. You're about to make me cry. I love that because in that time, I was definitely operating from urgency and overextension. Again, I had just reported the abuse that I had been through. We were going through that process. So not only was it really hard on me, it was hard on my family, on my parents, on my sister. When I reported my abuse, other people came forward about it. So it was that additional sense of guilt for me not having reported earlier. I was working way too much. I was pushing him away. I didn't feel worthy, I think, of being loved. Hold on. Let me catch my breath. I didn't feel worthy. I had way too much trauma, instabilities. And something interesting is that your family is your family, your mom is your mom, your sister, your dad, and they love you biologically, but your partner doesn't have to stay. He doesn't have to stay. So your family is going to be supportive, but your partner is going to push you. And that's definitely what he did. He pushed me to face those traumas and to heal those traumas. And he forced me to stop operating out of survival and burnout and undervaluing myself and not loving myself. So it was very hard. He definitely took some storm. It was not easy. You can't heal overnight.
Yeah.
It's nights of nightmares and wanting to leave the relationship because you're scared of reliving traumas and trust issues. So it definitely, that whole process and constant triggers along the way helped me slow down, become more aware of myself, learn, I think, how to love myself again, learn how to understand the healing process, that it's not like, oh, I read a self-help book and I'm okay now, I'm ready to face the world. No, it's, that's 15 years ago. And it's an ongoing thing. But I think slowing down and becoming self-aware has definitely helped me be a stronger leader and a stronger business boss woman, because I learned that it's not about trying to rescue people. It's not about overworking and creating this and that and just the money grabs or building off of people. It's about creating a structure and creating a safety for your clients, for your community. And one of the biggest things is setting clear expectations. So I think that going through all of that trauma triggers and healing have helped me lead with more patience, more understanding, better communication, and boundaries, stronger boundaries, and also learning how to, well, I'm still learning this, how to, I say this a lot, not to allow other people's wrongdoings to affect who you are as a person.
Yes.
Because I think that along the way, I've had, shady women, people who want to use me for resources, for whatever, for my expertise, for my connections.
Well, that's easy. It's easy to take those things, right?
Absolutely.
It's easy, right?
And, along the way,
let me just say, often imitated, never duplicated.
Never duplicated.
There.
Yes. And along the way, you learn how to pick and choose, and it's part of the loving yourself and healing yourself and boundaries. And I think I just learned that I know who I am. I know where my heart is. I know what I want to give this world and the example I want to set for my children. And there's always going to be people who criticize your path and your journey. And I think that it's really important that, even for me, there were times I'm like, you know what? And am I allowed to say the B word on live? But like,
Yes, you are.
I have had those times where I'm like, you know what? What's the point? Like, what am I trying to be a good person for? What is the point of me trying to leave an impact in this world if there's going to be people like that who try to taint that? Like, what am I even trying to be a good person for? I'm just gonna be a big witch with a B, And but then I sit down and I'm like, I have to vent and talk to my hubby or whoever is my support system. And, I go through all these evil scenarios in my mind, but then I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to allow other people's wrongdoings to affect the person that I am.
Correct.
I know I have a good heart. I know the journey I've been through. No one is me. I'm me. And I'm not going to allow that. So I think that all of that trauma and overcoming those hurdles have taught me to be about that business and be the person that I am and lead and try to exude that to other people.
Yes, I have shared the same sentiment. I've looked back in my life and I've looked at my friendships, my romantic relationships. And and this is just within the last 30, 60, 90 days, this level of self-awareness that I've been working on, been building, like you're saying, this doesn't happen overnight, right? And focusing on trauma when we're triggered is a lifelong commitment. We are committed to this. This isn't something that is just a one and done, or it just happens overnight and or it comes one day and we stop doing it, right? This is a continuation as we journey through life, as we meet new friends, as we consider new business opportunities, right? We have to remember who we were and who we are now, so that we don't make the same choices and the same decisions that we made back then. I look back in my friendships. Every friend that I met, that I made, that I engaged with, every single female friend was jealous of me from the very beginning. And I want to share something that's huge, because because I did not recognize how valuable I was then. When I met somebody that was jealous of me or envious of me, and they would actually say it. I mean, I can go back and recall meeting these people and the initial encounters and the things that were said. They stroked my ego. because my value and my worth was not even registering, my ego was easily stroked. A jealous or envious comment stroked my ego.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I wouldn't even continue. I wouldn't even stay engaged, let alone befriend that person or engage in a relationship, because my value and my worth is so high. My ego, my ego's, I guess aura is almost non-existent because my value and my worth has increased.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do want to add one other little thing that I think would be, I think it's useful for me now. And I found that I shared this with someone recently. I thought that it was useful, so I want to share it.
Yes, please share.
I think that when we go through certain situations in our businesses, I think that as business owners, as boss ladies, we don't realize that it triggers other areas in our lives. And as a business owner, as a community leader, as an advocate, like, we're so focused on like, oh, this person did this to me, or this jealousy is causing this rift. And I went through a situation recently where I definitely just fell off. But as I analyzed, I fell off with certain relationships, and in the business community, and respected people in community, I was just so let down. Like, just so let down that I allowed myself to try to change me, to put myself in a space where I thought people wanted me to be. And I slowly started I changed my hair. I did this, I did that. And I'm like, why? Like, what for? I was trying to be someone that I wasn't, to fit in. And, when I went through these experiences recently, I had to stop and be like, Yadira, stop being so angry, because it's not about them. It's about triggers that like came up for me, and it's not a them problem. It's a me problem.
Yes.
And, coming from abuse, it's hard to trust people. So there's like that deceptive that's triggering my past of like trust issues. Then there's this of like the use or whatever, where it's triggering the safety guards that you have up. So you slowly start to realize as a business owner that you start walking on eggshells around everybody because of the wrongdoings of somebody. But it's not a them problem. They did it because they're just not nice people. But you're letting it affect you. I was letting it affect me because it was a me problem, because I was allowing those past triggers trigger myself, and then it was affecting the way that I was operating my business, the way that I was talking to clients, though it started affecting my friendships, my relationship. But I don't think I realized that it wasn't them, it was my past, and I needed to face it. And it was a moment where I was like, you know what, it was just an unhealed part of me that I wasn't facing. So I had to slow it down a little bit. I had to slow it down, get myself in check. And also, I think we discussed this about that also healing, that portion of healing also changed my relationship with everything, even money, of like no longer seeing my business as like a earning, and I have to do this, and this. It was taking me away from what I know I started this business for in the first place, which was community,
right,
and sustainability, and sustaining that impact and that growth and that consistency. And I was allowing these triggers to stop that vision. So it wasn't a them problem, it was a me problem. So forget y'all.
Yeah.
Bossing up again.
That's right. Boss lady in the break room.
If they see this video, I'm bossing up. So thank you. Bye.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Yadira. That's what we do here in the Boss Ladies Break Room. We educate, we inspire, and we empower our fellow boss ladies to take action in their business. And it does all start with facing our trauma when we're triggered. It's honestly a gift. When we are triggered in the moment, it is a gift of revelation that we are being given to heal a wound that is still operating in us, and it's still showing up in us every day, even though it's 5, 10, 15 years old. The trigger is real, raw emotion from trauma that we have not healed. So I'm so grateful that you shared that with us here in the break room, because that is truly, I think, a practical tool that other boss ladies can apply immediately from our interview together and from hearing from you. That's something that's very tangible that they can actually apply. So in wrapping up, Yadira, I mean, and we could honestly, I could interview you for a whole nother hour, right? There's so many things that we could talk about on the topic. I asked you about power and what your definition or what your opinion of power is. So in closing, you said to me, healing isn't the opposite of power. It's the foundation of it. And you shared 5 practical, tools essentially that our audience could use and apply immediately today in their work and their business. And so I want to run through these really quickly and just ask you just to elaborate, like a 30-second, response to the foundation of healing. You said power is asking for help. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I think something that a lot of people do is just, I want to do everything myself. And as a firstborn oldest, it's not about that. Power is asking for help when you need it. It's about setting boundaries without guilt and not feeling guilty about it, and being honest with yourself, using your story to help others so you don't feel alone. And it's just the ability to power yourself up in hard moments and lead with clarity instead of fear. And I think it all revolves around asking for help, whether it's asking yourself for help or asking your support system for help.
Well, and like you just said a minute ago, right? You're bossing up, right? You're bouncing back, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I just want to thank you so much, Yadira. Thank you for joining me today in the Boss Ladies Break Room. I appreciate your realness, your honesty, your integrity. I'm so happy for you. Your mom had chimed in. I know she was watching live. She said she was so proud of you. And I'm so grateful to have know your mother, to have known her, to work with her. And, here we are 14 years later, we're coming back full circle, and we are boss ladies in the Boss Ladies Break Room, being bosses. And so I'm so happy that your mother's able to see this. And see how, these Bling Queens and these pageant queens, how far we've come and the impact that we're making. Really quickly, how can people find you? How can people connect with you if they need services in Washington State? Of course, immigration is a huge aspect of your business. So tell our audience how they can connect with you, where they can find you.
Yes, absolutely. So I am on both Instagram and Facebook. I'm listed as Impacto MS253, which is Impacto Multi-Services 253. I'm on Instagram, same thing. Our website is impactoms253.com. We're redesigning our website. I'm so excited about that. And we're out here in Tacoma, right across the street from the Pierce County Superior Court. We're Googleable. And our phone number is 253-653-4688. I'm not the best with social media, but that is that's another power tool I gotta ask for help with.
Well, I know a boss lady that can help you with that. Her name's Miss Kamei with Miss Kamei International. She can definitely help you in supporting your business. So again, thank you so much, Yadira. Thank you for sharing this personal, very private, personal testimony with me today, and encouraging our other boss ladies to take action in healing their trauma when they are triggered. We're going to take a quick break, you guys. When we come back, I'm going to leave you with a closing monologue for the rest of your month to set intentions for you. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Are you a woman-owned business ready to elevate your visibility? The Boss Ladies Breakroom offers exclusive 30-second commercial brand features designed to position your brand with clarity and authority. Did you know short-form video drives engagement? Viewers retain up to 95% of what they watch online. Trusted placement builds recognition, and trust drives revenue. We refine your message, we professionally produce your commercial, we deliver the finished video asset for you to use across your platforms, and we feature it inside a platform committed to educating, inspiring, and empowering women in business.
If your personal financial house is not in order, your business financial house will not be in order. And so what do I mean by that? Even if you're starting a side business, if you're selling, jewelry online or whatever, it's important to separate personal from business. A separate account for your business. It's to your advantage, right? There's different business structures, but keep that in mind. You want to keep it separated.
Visit MissKameInternational.com and click the Contact tab and submit your inquiry with commercial brand feature in the subject line. This isn't exposure, it's positioning. Be seen, be trusted, be remembered. Welcome back to the Boss Ladies Breakroom, everybody. Before we close out today's powerful conversation, I want to leave you with a few ways to stay connected, stay empowered, and stay in motion during this fire horse year of bold healing and purpose. We're not broken, we're triggered. And that means that healing is available. The year of the fire horse demands movement, courage, and transformation. In the Boss Ladies Breakroom, we choose intentional fire growth with grounding, power, and purpose. I'm Boss Lady Miss Kamei, and this is the Boss Ladies Breakroom, where we educate, inspire, and empower you. Catch me the first Wednesday of every month on YouTube, right here in the Boss Ladies Breakroom. Thanks so much for joining, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me in the Boss Ladies Breakroom for the Triggered, Not Broken series. If you're ready to educate, inspire, empower, and take action, subscribe to Miss Kamei International on YouTube and join me the first Wednesday of every month at 2 p.m. right here in the Breakroom, where we protect our peace, secure our assets, and build family legacy.